So, wow, that's beautiful. So I want to talk about relationships. About a year ago, downtown LA, about 6 p.m., I was at a networking event because that's what you're supposed to do when you're North Campus. That's why we smile so much, because you go to networking events and you learn to smile. So I was at a networking event. I was standing at one of those tables with everyone that was too shy to go talk to everyone else, so basically no one you want to meet, everyone's standing there. And I was kind of looking around the room and I saw someone who I knew way too much about. They were one of my idols. I had read every book they had written, every article they had ever published. I knew all about their businesses they ran, the nonprofits they were incorporating, everything. So naturally, you want to go meet this person, right? So I take a deep breath. I make sure that I'm looking appropriate, make sure the buttons are all buttoned up. Start walking across the room. Before I know it, I'm standing in front of my absolute idol, keeping my knees from shaking. So, taking the initiative, I launched straight into my introduction. Hello, I'm Jeremiah Barnett. I would like you to be my mentor. I would like you to invest considerable time and energy in me over the next year and a half until I've reached my goals and I no longer need you. What do you say? So he slowly took out his phone, answered a fake call, you know how they do in the movies, and then walked away. So needless to say, no relationship was formed, no connection was formed. He actually denied my LinkedIn request later that evening too, so bad impression. So since then, over the last year, I have made it a point to learn the proper way to reach out to someone you really, really admire or someone you want to learn from in order to create what the title of my happy 21st century title is, $1 Million Relationships. And as a clarification, this isn't about, I need to get a pay raise or I need to get my summer internship, so I desperately need to read my resume to somebody who has a position and they can hire me. This is about creating relationships for someone who can be your sounding board for your ideas, who can provide guidance and tell you when you're doing something wrong or not going out of your comfort zone enough, which is what they do most often. So as an outline of what we're going to talk about, it starts with searching for someone. Unless you already know someone in your mind, most likely you're going to have to go onto the internet and search for them. Then actually engaging with the person and then knowing what to do after you've met with this person. The obvious tools are obviously Google. Everyone here, if you're sitting in this room, you go to UCLA most likely, so you have access to the internet and a computer, so you have no excuses. LinkedIn. I know there's a little bit of a stigma as far as creating LinkedIns and making them look pretty, but oftentimes, at least in my experience, if I contact someone out of the blue, before they respond, let's say I write something nice enough for them to want to respond to me, before they respond, they'll Google me, and then they'll look at whatever pops up. And if it's my Instagram or my Facebook, now they're okay, but they weren't so much back then. But if the LinkedIn is the first thing that pops up, then they see my school, my awards, languages I speak, my employment, and then they read that, and then they respond to me, because now they understand a little bit more about me. So it is a valuable tool. UCLA One. This is an incredible resource available to everyone here. It's basically, does anyone know what UCLA One is? Raise your hand if you know what UCLA One is. Okay, there's like 4 of you. UCLA One is a directory of our alumni who have indicated that they want to help students. They've already said, I want to help students. So basically, this is them walking up to you and saying, hi, how can I help you? And then either you can walk away, as most students do, because they aren't aware of this resource, or you don't say anything, or you can say, hi, this is what I need help with. Can you help? So that's what UCLA One is. And then less obvious, books, articles, smoke signals, if you have to resort to that. Okay, so for cold emailing and messaging, I messed up a lot here at the very beginning, as you can see from my strategy in approaching that person at that networking event. These are my 4 main points. The first one is be concise. This is an email I sent to someone I really admired. I never got a response. I was very praising in the email, which is wonderful, but as you can see, it's like 3 paragraphs. I don't really have a point. It's just not very good. So be concise. The second one is have clear intentions. These days, I even go as far as to say, hello, so-and-so, I would like to buy you a cup of coffee, or I would like to have a phone call with you, in order for them in the first several seconds to know exactly what this person is here for and what they would be giving if they were to agree to this. And additionally, it's kind of provocative in that they want to read more because they're thinking this is a little bold. Why is this person already trying to buy me a cup of coffee? So here's an example of something I sent on UCLA One. It's great, but it doesn't really have a point. I don't really say anything that I need. In fact, at the end, I'm very ambiguous and I end with a question mark, which is very strange. Like when you go up to someone new, if you ended your statement with a question mark, that's just strange. So avoid that. Make sure you have clear intentions. So be concise, clear intentions, be relevant. This is where you're going to take something that they've done, whether it's education or employment or interests, whether they are a diver or whether they're in medicine, whatever it is, you're going to tie that into whatever you want or whatever you are and state it in a manner that's still concise. So, you know, I am a poli-sci major, I don't know what I'm doing with my life, I see that you were once a poli-sci major, but you're working in tech, you know, how does that connect? And then you have something relevant. So here's a message I sent to someone on UCLA 1. As a major at UCLA, I'm really excited at being part of this mentor-mentee program. I believe this program will be impressively enlightening. I used thesaurus for that one. To the both of us, in ways we couldn't expect. I'm excited. So I don't ask him for anything. I'm very excited, which is great. Which he was actually in entertainment, so he answered because he thought it was funny. But this is not a great way to, unless you want to communicate your excitement, this wasn't getting the job done. And then lastly, this is probably the more embarrassing example, always be professional. It seems cliche, and there are ways to be bold and to put yourself out there, but this was not one of them. So this was an opportunity that I had to be an apprentice to, yeah, they use that word, an apprentice to a real estate agent at a massive firm that I was so excited to join. So I sent this email. Hello, Steve. I am the unicorn you are searching for. Needless to say, there was no response to that email. Definitely not an apprentice, not a real estate mogul. I don't know about you, but in hiring practices, that's not exactly the imagery that I would want to be. Yeah, I'm willing to share that because I've learned. So when you're writing these messages, make sure you're concise. 2 to 3 sentences is really all you need. Clear intentions, be explicit with what you expect from that. You don't need to say, hi, I'd like to buy you a dinner at the nicest restaurant downtown. That's a little weird. But just a phone call, a brief phone call, a coffee, that just shows your intention. Be relevant and be professional. Don't be a unicorn, just be a normal person. Okay, so once you actually have the meeting set up, once they've responded, once they've taken the bait, so to speak, and you can't believe yourself, you got a response that's positive. So you're going to have to put in more work, because this is about creating relationships, not about adding another connection to your LinkedIn. So for research, I have spent anywhere between 1 to 12 hours reading about someone before meeting with them, because the 1 hour one was for a brief phone call, the 12 hour one was for a job that took all of my summer out, and has led to many more opportunities. It's really proportional to how much you value the experience and how much you value the person that you're meeting with. And from the research that you do, you're going to need to write 3 to 5 very good questions, and I say good, all caps, because asking a question like, you know, is there free coffee at your workplace, or do you come in at 9 or 8, or how do you like working in your place? They're very generic, and anyone can ask those questions. What you want to do is you want to come showing that you have that research all the way into one just question that reveals that you've thought deeply about this, and you respect their time, and you respect the years of experience that they have in something that I hope that you're interested in. And then also, listen more than you talk. This isn't an interview, so to speak. This isn't about you reciting your curated resume. This is about you learning from someone who's gone through a lot that hopefully you won't have to go through because of their experience. So here's an example of a question that I asked someone, and they actually had to think for like a minute before they answered it. But Humble Inquirer is the name of a book that he had read, written an article about, and so I read. And so I brought that in there. I asked a question that was detailed and deep, and it sounds good, and it didn't say impressively enlightening or unicorn, so I figured it's a win. And he responded well to this, and he talked for 15 minutes. And then after the meeting, so after you have made sure that you dressed nicely at the meeting, after you made sure you showed up early, because it's very important to show up early, especially if you take the bus, like me. Immediately after the meeting, write down exactly what you learned, because if you expect to create a relationship with this person, and you also are a UCLA student, you're very busy and you're cramming your head full of knowledge and useless facts all day, you're not going to remember what you talked about at the meeting unless you write it down. Additionally, from what you write down, you need to write a thank you email to this person within 1 or 2 days, showing, be concise, be professional, all those things, but showing that you acknowledge what you talked about in that meeting, that you're going to take action on those things, and then also indicating that you would like to have another meeting sometime in the future. And then work on whatever you were, because they're going to tell you things like, you need to work on this, this, and this, or you need to look into this, this, and this, and then see what you do with it. Because if you don't do anything with it, that's a sign that they don't want to invest their time with you. If you do something, then that is their sign that, oh, well then I'll invest my time with this person. So here's an example of really just that short is all you need for sending a thank you email to someone you just met. So you're indicating that you are grateful. Obviously, it's a great thing. Showing a little bit of an excitement with an exclamation point. You're indicating that you listen to what they said, the TED Talks and the book. You're going to take action on it, and then you leave it open at the end for connecting in the future. So it's not binding. You're not saying, hi, on the 14th, are you available for another meeting? It's more of, I am very interested in continuing contact with you as long as I didn't embarrass myself too much with you, Last night I was having dinner with somebody else's mentor, and he said, and I've read this multiple places as well, the biggest thing for mentors is knowing and realizing that their mentees, or the younger half, is willing to act on whatever they talk about, not just willing, but capable. And a lot of it is going to be going out of your comfort zone, because that is where the growth takes place. Whether it's getting a new job, or putting yourself out there, or calling someone, or creating an online portfolio, or whatever it is, they're going to ask that you put yourself out there in order that they know that it's worth their time. So for re-engaging, typically if you meet with someone, things go pretty well because you did your research before contacting this person and you like this person. So after you've met with them, and after you send your thank you email, you're going to want to wait probably a week or two before you start scheduling another meeting, because they have kids, they have a dog that's chewing things up, they have a job, they're probably doing very well in life, and they don't really have as much time as you do. So wait a couple of days or a few weeks before you send another email. In that email, make sure you have tracked the progress that you've made on the things that you were working on, and that you can explicitly state that to them, as in I read those books, or I watched those TED Talks, or I got that job, or I had that call. Set up the new meeting. You're probably going to be working with their secretary by that time. And then prepare again for this meeting, but this time you're going to come in with a smile on your face and no nerves, because you already know a little bit about this person. You've an established track record of what you're doing in your life, and you didn't embarrass yourself. And then, most importantly, of the entire process, as I've learned over the last year, it's not about getting one mentor and then checking that off your college list and now I'm going to be successful in life. It's more about curating and I don't like the word network, but really a network of relationships that are people who are invested in your life. Some of them explicitly state to you, I count me as one of your supporters, one of your fans. Whatever you need, let me know. Send me a question anytime, and I'll help you. That's the type of person you want behind you in the next 10 weeks, really. That's all honest. I'm also graduating in June. But in the next 10 years of your life as well. And then you'll be able to turn around and give this back to someone eventually. So, begins with searching. Google, LinkedIn, UCLA One. Please use UCLA One. Just go on some Thursday night when you're bored, make an account, look up one person and send them a message, being clear, concise, professional, and relevant. Engaging that person, actually going to a meeting with them, or actually having a call, doing the preparation beforehand, coming up with some good questions, and then taking those post-meeting action items of writing down what you learned, sending them a thank you email, and then re-engaging them. Ultimately, this is something that I was really, really bad at, even though I thought I was good at, and is essential to a North Campus major in many ways, so almost ironic that I was bad at it. But I forced myself to go out of my comfort zone and to grow and to learn. So I really encourage you guys to go out there and build these relationships, because they are life-changing, and they can introduce so many opportunities you never would have known of, like the religion class, like all these examples of new experiences. You have the tools. You've now listened to an entire speech on this, where the guy embarrassed himself with unicorn pictures and all of that. You are prepared to go out there and make these relationships. So I urge you to go out and make